What's up everybody, Pat here, and this is my first video on this YouTube channel. So today, as you guys can tell from the title of this video, we're going to be developing a roll of film that is roughly 20 years old. So a little backstory, I had actually bought a 5-pack of Kodak Max 400 while I was out in Colorado. I was visiting my father on like a vacation with my girlfriend, and we had stopped at a thrift store in Longmont, Colorado, and I found a 5-pack of film that was expired. I honestly just knew it was expired by looking at it, but I didn't even check the date until I went to shoot it, which was about a week ago. And I'd bought the film back in June, and it is now almost December, but I shot it last weekend while I was in New York City. I'm not gonna lie, I've been into film for about a year, roughly going on a year, but I actually haven't been taking it seriously, or it's hard to explain. When I got into it, I was shooting like crazy, and then I was taking my film to a local lab and having it developed and scanned and sent to me. And I didn't really understand the process. I knew how to expose because I use digital, and I've been shooting digital for about 3 years, and I have a very good understanding of it. So I was just, I understood how to expose and everything, but I didn't really understand the process or went into it until I started developing myself literally a week ago from today. So this is the film right here. The 5-pack, I actually used the rest of the rolls as like test rolls or dummy rolls for loading film, because I'm going to be developing this myself, and I use the developing tank method, and then I scan it on an Epson V600, which I bought all of this stuff literally a week ago at B&H when I was in New York City. But right here is the roll of Kodak Max 400. The thing that I'm worried about, which hopefully we will get a result, is, of course, like after I shot this roll, in my head, I knew there was a possibility that nothing could come out of this. And for some reason, I shot it as if I normally would shoot film. So, and then of course, after I shoot it, I look up what to do when shooting expired film. And for every decade, apparently, you should overexpose one stop. I can't guarantee there's anything overexposed on this roll, because in my head, it tells me to expose properly because I wasn't thinking. But when we develop today, which I'm not a pro at this, I've been doing this I've developed maybe 6 to 7 rolls so far, and I've gotten better and better and better results each time I develop, and each time I scan, I'm learning more and more. My developing process has kind of gotten down to like a system that I've been really being able to understand and get results out of. So as far as I know, I should be able to leave this in the developer a little bit longer. Apparently every 30 seconds is going to be one stop, so we might leave this in for an extra minute and 5, maybe a minute and 10 seconds, because I did shoot some at night. I should start keeping a mental note of what I shoot and when I shoot, but hey, this is the process of learning, so let's get started. Alright, so another thing I probably should have mentioned about this film is this expired in 2001. It is going on 2020, so this film is about 19 years old. I'm pretty nervous about this, and you guys are going to kind of see a very, very funky way that I develop, because I've found that it has worked for me, and I've been able to maintain better temperatures and stuff. It's going to seem really, really weird and very at home, but hey, that's what I decided to start doing instead of taking my stuff to a lab, even though I love supporting our local place here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. They're amazing, and their results are far better than mine, but for some reason, I cannot explain how much I love this process. Maybe it's just me being in control of it is what I like the most, being able to develop it myself, physically see the results, and also get to scan and tweak and edit myself. I don't know, it feels really, really good, and I'm excited. But yeah, this film's about 20 years old. So basically, to break it down for you guys so this doesn't seem like some weird thing, what I do is I take a pot of water, I put it on my stove, I let it get to about 120, 125 degrees. I bring it downstairs because I have a sink down here in my basement, where I pour it into a separate container because I don't want to contaminate the pot, and I let the jugs of developer and Blix sit in the 120 degree water. It's pretty cold down in this room, in the laundry room. You know, I can't give an exact temperature, but with the temperature difference, it drops temperature pretty fast, the water. So it will hold around between 100 and 110 degrees. So I do 2 pots of that, so I have fresh water to keep the developing tank in to maintain that temperature. Like I said, this has worked for me. It's gonna seem really weird, I'm sure. I know people have a much cleaner way of doing it, but this process has worked for me. So without talking too much and boring you guys, I'm gonna start putting this in a changing bag, and we're gonna start this process. Alright, so that actually wasn't too bad. This film was really curled. Obviously, it's been sitting inside of the canister for almost 20 years, and we cut it pretty well. I actually peel all of my rolls of film. I don't have an opener yet, which I will be getting here soon, but I was able to get it down to a pretty nice little edge here. So we should have every photo, if there are really any on here. I was able to cut it nicely, and I got it loaded. And I always put the lid on just to be safe. I always wear gloves just to not get my fingerprints on the film or get any chemicals on me. But the water's boiling. Well, not boiling, but heating up. So let's go into the laundry room and get started. So right here is where I set everything up on this freezer. I wipe everything down with alcohol after I'm done. I'm very cautious about this stuff. And then over here is the sink, and there are the chemicals. So we're gonna set you guys up so you guys can see. Like I said, this is gonna seem a little ghetto, and sorry that it's not pretty down here, but this is where I develop. So I just got my water. It's at about 100 and something degrees. I'm gonna put it in this. I know it looks home done, because it is, but I'm gonna put the developer and Blix in here. Pour this in. By the time these get up to the temperature we need them, the water will drop and it should balance itself out. I know a lot of people do this in their bathtub, which is probably what you're thinking. Why aren't you doing this in your bathtub? And mainly because my entire family uses it, and I like it to be sanitary, no chemicals. And also, unfortunately, when my water gets hot, it doesn't stay at a consistent temperature for too long. So I found this easiest for me. And then I use the remainder of this water to do the pre-wash, and I'm probably going to put another pot on just to be safe. And by the time I'm done with this, these should be up to temperature. I have a thermometer on me to check the temperatures to make sure everything's going smooth. The water is over 125 degrees, and the only reason I know that is because this only goes up to 125, and it's spiked past that, but it's probably realistically 60 something degrees down here. So this should cool off relatively fast, and by the time it does cool off, we will hopefully have a correct temperature. If not, we can just let it cool off a little bit and then add more warm water to it to maintain the balance. So I know it sounds like kind of sketchy or whatever, but this is how I've been doing it, and it's been working for me perfectly. Alright, so everything should be up to temperature. We are going to just double check everything and then start the pre-wash. And I'm going to put this under time lapse to not bore you guys, but just so you know, I will be using the developer for about 4 minutes and 45 seconds, maybe 4 minutes and 50 seconds. We're going to try to pull this stuff as much as we can, and then after that we will use the Blix for the recommended 6.5, and then a couple wash cycles, and then the stabilizer at room temperature for about 1.5 minutes, and then from there we will let the film dry. My film I usually let dry in my shower. I kind of have this little rig I'll show you guys. Unfortunately, I don't have a film squeegee, but that is on its way, as well as a shutter release cable. And I don't have many cycles left out of these chemicals, so I'm gonna have to order those, but they're on back order right now. So we'll see what happens, but I'm gonna double check all these temperatures, make sure we're ready to go, and then we're gonna start the process. So this will be a time lapse, but I will catch back up with you guys after we resolve everything. results. They're very, very dark, but they are there. Okay, so I did notice that there were results on the film. They were very, very, very dark. Keep our fingers crossed. I definitely saw some stuff. We're letting it dry. I usually let my film dry for about 2 hours, and usually I'm okay. So I'm gonna let this dry until about 11 p.m. and then we're gonna start scanning it on the Epson V600. I'm gonna have a late night and I have to be up very early for work tomorrow, but I love this stuff. So fingers crossed we can pull something. I'm excited that there were results, but I'm not keeping my hopes too high. We'll find out in about 2 hours. All right, you guys, it's about midnight. I'm down in the basement right now. I just checked on the film. It is dry. I have to be kind of quiet because obviously everybody's sleeping. Has to get up for work early tomorrow. So I'm going to go cut the film, put it into archival sleeves. And then like I said, this may or may not be, like, some of you guys might be watching this cringing. Other of you guys are like, wow, I've never tried this, or whatever the case may be. So your method might be way more professional and cleaner than mine is, but mine works. So right now I'm gonna go upstairs. I gotta grab my gloves and we are going to cut the film up. I also have this stuff called Film Clean, and I use cotton balls. It's what's recommended and it has worked great. Cut the film, put it in the archival sleeves, and then you'll kind of see the process that I do. It's gonna look so homemade that it's kind of cringy. I'm kind of self-conscious about it, but like I said, it's worked. If you have techniques, try to kindly leave them in the comments, because I know how some of these people get. Some of you guys are super aggressive over things that really don't affect my process or yours. So if you have better tips, leave them in the comments. My scanner is currently on the box it came in, on the floor. I know, already dust and stuff, but don't worry, I blow everything down and make sure everything's spotless. So until I can figure out a better production, this is how it's gonna have to be, and it's worked for me. Alright, you guys, so time to look at these scans. This first one here was very, very overexposed, and I was able to save it. I'm just really, really happy to see an image here. I was able to pull it down in Lightroom. I scan all these as TIFFs, and then I edit them in Lightroom. So this next one was in Brooklyn, and these all had a very, very greenish tint, and the more I added magentas, it kind of got a little out of whack, and I kind of also liked it. So this one was in Brooklyn, and I'm just happy to see it, you know. And then after that, we actually got to see some street performers, and they were actually an old school band called the Meatles. So this was really cool, and I think the look of the photos actually really captures the vibe that they represent, and a vibe I really wasn't expecting to get. I honestly didn't expect to get much out of this. Like this right here, this is one of my favorite photos. I will leave a link in the description to the full resolution in a Google Photos album if you guys would like to look at them, so you can see them in, you know, their maximum quality. This here was another street performer. You can see the people dancing, and he's kind of feeling the vibe, and it just really makes me happy that I got results off of this. This one again was also overexposed. All I could see was the horizon and a little bit of the outline of the building. I was able to bring something back. This one was taken on a rooftop in Brooklyn. Again, just really moody tones, and I just love it. I love the authentic look of this. Again, this was another direction from the same rooftop, with the sun kind of creating this amazing golden glow effect on the windows. And then I got another one. Again, those buildings there were illuminating in this gold, and it looks so good. I mean, it looks terrible in a way, but it looks amazing. And then this one also of a sign. This was so overexposed. I'm so surprised I was able to get anything out of it, but that's kind of it for the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please leave a thumbs up, comment your tips and tricks below, and please stay tuned for more videos, as I will be having a lot more coming. Thank you guys, and have a great rest of your week.